Good morning, students. Today I want to talk to you and show you how to do a bank reconciliation. So let's go to our PowerPoint slides on Blackboard. Let's see if I have it pulled up. There's one called Bank Reconciliations, and it has Chapter 8, Basic Bank Services. Now, I'm assuming most of you have checking accounts, and so these are some terms that you need to know. Bank accounts, signature cards, don't know if you had to fill out one, but in the past you did to have a checking account. Deposit tickets, checks, hopefully you got some checks, or at least a starter set. Electronic funds transfer means using your ATM or transferring funds between accounts, and then bank statements. And so what I want to take you to is how to reconcile your bank statement. And you have two parts to a bank statement. If you download the class problem, let me show it to you. Okay, it looks like this. What you have here is three pieces. Okay, you have a bank statement, and this is going to show your checks and the date that you wrote them, and also some other items here. And on the back of that, you would have this sheet where you can reconcile your bank statement. And then hopefully you keep a record in some type of register or in Excel about when you write checks or when you take money out of your account. You need to keep up with that, making deposits, that sort of thing. So this is your check register. So let's identify what the parts are. And I'm doing this from a personal standpoint. Of course, a company would probably have it on Excel or some kind of computer program, okay? So, if you go back, there are steps, 9 steps to reconciling a bank statement. Okay, we want to start with, and what you're trying to do here, this is one of the slides, you're trying to get your check register to equal the bank statement balance, because they're not going to be equal to begin with. So let me go back. Here we go. Steps to reconciling a bank statement. Now, we want to start with the bank balance, okay? So that's going to be your bank statement here, this one. And if you notice, the bank balance currently shows $2,050, and then down at the bottom it shows $2,050. Now, on your check register, you're showing $1,404. So does that mean that you have $600 that you can spend? No, it doesn't. Okay, somewhere between this number, $1,404, and $2,050 is what you actually have in the bank. So what we want to do, the first step, is we want to look at your deposits. Okay, so let's look at your deposits on your checking account, and we want to match those up with the deposits in your check register. Okay, so let's go through, and we want to do like a matching game here. Now, you have a deposit showing in this column. It shows deposits, $240. So you need to go back and you need to look at your check register and see if that matches. And yes, it does. So put a check mark by both. Okay. Then you show a deposit in your check register of $180. So come back and see, does that match up with what's showing on your bank statement? And yes, it does. Okay. Coming on down, we have another deposit of $150. That was on October the 16th. So let's see. Do we have that? Yes. Here we go. Right here. Okay, now we have $100 here. Don't know if it's down here. Let's check and see on our check register. That $100 is down here. It's just out of line, so mark that one off. Now, I want you to hold off on the CMs and the IN. I'm going to come back and talk to you about that in a minute. But those are all the deposits on your bank statement. Let's see what we have over here. Do we have any without checks? Yes. Okay. a 145. And what I want you to do is put an IT by the side of that, IT. Okay, let me tell you what that is. That is what we call a deposit in transit. It means it's on your check register. This is a deposit, meaning you had money on your register but not on the bank statement. Okay, a deposit in your register but not on your bank statement. Okay, so what we need to do now is to look at this part, balancing your checking account. Okay, we've arranged your checks. We haven't worried about service charges right now. Want to write the ending balance of your bank statement here. Okay, so that's $2,050. Okay, and then we want to list any deposits not shown on your statement. These are in transit deposits, ITs. So that $145, you would list it here. And then you bring it over here to line 6A. And what you want to do is add it. That's going to be $2,195. Okay. And let's move on. Okay, so let's go back and we're doing some more matching. Okay, go back to your rules here. Now, we want to look at checks. You see this word outstanding checks. We want to do the same game that we just did, but this time we want to do it with our checks. Okay, and I'm just going to move them over here. So it doesn't matter which way you go, whether you go from your statement, your register to the bank statement, or the bank statement back, but you want to do the matching game. So why don't we start with the register? $55, that's check 119. Okay. Next check is $200. That's check 120. Next check is 121 for $120. Okay, now hold off on these DMs and CMs. I'm going to come back and explain those in a few minutes, okay? Now look at 122, $70. Okay, 123. And $25. Then we have 124 for $150. 124, do you see it? No, it's not there. Okay, so go back and in your check register where it says 124, 150, put OS. OS. This is an outstanding check, meaning that we wrote it, we put it in our bank statement, but it hasn't made it to the bank. Apparently the bank statement was printed before the check cleared the bank. Now, 125 is $15. Okay. Then we have NSF and DM, so circle that. Okay. Then we have 126 for $200. Is it here? No, it's not there. There's 127, 128. So you have another outstanding check right there. Then you have $50. Let's check 127. And then you have 135, which is check 128. Okay, I think that's all your checks. So we've circled some items that I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, and then we've identified what we call outstanding checks. Okay, now let me tell you what outstanding checks are. Go back and let's see, is this what we wrote on it? Okay. OS represents outstanding checks. And these are checks that we wrote. We put them down in our register. But they have not cleared the bank, meaning they haven't been posted on the bank's statement. Okay. Now let me show you what we're going to do with those. So hold on to that, get that down. Let me prop my camera up here. Okay, I want you to go back to the balancing your checking account page, and we want to write these checks in under step 5. Okay, so under step 5 it says list the outstanding checks. So let's get them. First you had check number 124 for $150. And then if you come on down, you had another check, 126, okay, for $200. Okay. And the total of those, $350. So add those up, and those numbers need to be put in line 5A. And we want to subtract $350 from $2,195, and the balance is $1,845. Now, this is the amount that we need to get in our check register. So we took the $2,050 that was on the bank balance, and we've adjusted for deposits in transit, outstanding checks, and come up with the balance of $1,845. So remember this, for the test purposes, when you're adjusting the checking account balance, you're looking only at deposits in transit and outstanding checks. Okay. Now let's adjust our bank register, and what we want to deal with on the bank register are those the INs and the DMs and the CMs and all of that. Okay, so if you come back to your PowerPoints, let's go to the next PowerPoint, adjusting your account balance that's on your register. Okay, you want to do the additions here. So anything that was under the deposit column is what we call a credit or interest. Those are additions. They need to be added to your register. Okay, interest would be interest paid on your account. That makes sense. The CM is what we call a credit memo. That means that we're giving you credit for something. And what happened here was the bank collected a loan for you, something where you had loaned money. It could have even been a bond, okay, that you were trying to get collected. But they collected something and put the money in your account. It was for $500, and they took $15 out for themselves. So what we need to do is take that over to your register, and we need to put 1023. Want to put CM, and under the deposit column, I guess this should have been down here. Let's move it down one. Under the deposit column, you want to put $485. Okay. And then we want to put the interest. IN, $8.42. Okay, if you add all of those together, that would be $4.85 plus 8 is $493.42. And you want to add those numbers to your balance there. And you should get $1,898, I believe. Okay. Check me on that. Okay. Now, let's go back, and then we want to do the subtractions. Okay. The subtractions are going to be the debits. Those would be insufficient check charges where you've written a bad check or somebody gave you a bad check. It would be fees for charges, service charges. Okay, so let's take a look. We have one here, $23. That's called a debit memo, DM. What that means is in this case, we got, I believe it was some checks. Okay, we got some checks that we had ordered and they charged us $23 for them. Then we have an NSF check where somebody gave us a bad check. Maybe that's a fee for that check. It was not a good check, so we're charged a fee. And then the $10 DM was a safe deposit box charge. We got a safe deposit box. So we want to subtract those three items from our check register. So come back over here, and you want to put, I think it's 1012 DM, and this is going to be $23. Then you had another DM and an NSF. So NSF was next, and that was on 1025. And that's going to be $20. And then the next one, 1025 was another DM. It's hard to write and do this, for $10. So that adds up to be $43.53 that you want to subtract from your balance. So these are subtractions. And when you finish, you're going to come out with a balance of $1,845. And that just so happens to be the same balance that we got on our bank statement. Okay, so you balanced your bank statement. That's exactly how much money you have as of that particular date. Now, before we go any further, I want to address one last thing. Notice sometimes you have an error. Now, we're going to assume that the bank never makes an error. But if you do, or you write a number down wrong, transpose one, you've made an error in the bank statement. So let's just take, for example, that we get $1,845. And what you had done here was you had an $85 check. Did we happen to have one for $85 up here? No, I don't see it. But let's say that you wrote an $85 check, and it should have been $58. Okay, now checks are subtracted. So here's the deal. You can do this one of two ways. If you had written an $85 check up here, let's say this was a check, okay? Think about this. What this did was to take more money out of your account than needed to be taken out of, okay? So this was a check that you had written, and your balance ended up being $1,845. Two ways you can do this. You can either add the check back and then subtract the 58, which is what the check should have been, okay? Or you can take the difference, 85 minus 58, that's going to be $27, I believe. Yeah. Now you have to ask yourself, do we need to add or subtract this amount? Well, if the original check that you wrote was for more, and this one should have been for less, then what you need to do is to add this back, okay? because you need to give yourself $27 more. They had taken out too much. If, however, it was reversed and you had written the original check for 58 and it should have been 85, you want to subtract more out. Okay, so notice that. If you're looking at the difference here, you would have added this back and then subtracted that. That is a net here of plus 27. Okay, which means you would add the difference if you just do the difference here. So you do have an error. I can't remember how much it is in your homework, but beware of that and see how you do. I'll post the answers. Let's see. Homework problem. If you'll go, let's go. Here's your homework problem. In class is the one I just did, and then you have a homework problem here. So pull that one up and either print it out or write it out. Do it like I just did, and you will have an error. I can't remember exactly how much that was, but look for an error and see if you can figure out how to fix that. And I'll post the answers on Wednesday. Okay? Good luck to you. Bye.